Today, we're going to dive into the really complex journey of grief, but we're not looking at it through some clinical textbook. Instead, we're going to explore it through a powerful story, an allegory about a lonely hermit and a very mysterious visitor. This is the Six Parables of Grief.
Look, we all experience loss. It's just a part of being human. But what does that journey actually feel like, day to day? This ancient parable kind of gives us a map, a way to see that path, all reflected in one man's lonely struggle.
So, our journey with this hermit is going to unfold in 6 parts. Each one is its own little parable, showing us a different way we confront loss. We'll follow him from the very beginning, when he tries to just ignore reality, all the way to his final, really profound understanding. Okay, so picture this. A lonely tower. A hermit is inside, trying to chart a path back to a lost kingdom he calls Lenore. All of a sudden, there's a tapping at his door. And his first instinct? It's not fear, it's rationalization.
Do you see what he's doing there? He has this immediate, almost desperate need to name the sound. And he picks the most boring, everyday explanation he can think of. Oh, it's just a visitor. Nothing to see here. He is clinging to a sense of normal with everything he has.
And that's really what denial is, right? It's a defense mechanism. The hermit makes his world tiny and predictable because he's trying to hide from the huge, scary, unpredictable reality of his loss. He thinks, hey, if I can just put a label on it, I can control it. I can keep the ghost of my past from getting in. But of course, the topping doesn't stop. Reality rarely does. The hermit opens a window, and in flies this dark, silent raven. Now, instead of freaking out or feeling something, he treats the bird like a puzzle to be solved. And that brings us to our next stage, bargaining. This right here, this is the intellectual dance of bargaining. The hermit hears the raven say its one and only word, and his brain immediately jumps in to explain it away with logic. He tells himself, oh, the bird's just, it's a broken thing. It learned one word from some broken master. It's this whole performance of logic, all designed to keep his own emotions locked away. And that is the absolute essence of bargaining. It's when your mind steps in to try and protect your heart. By turning the source of his pain, this raven, into nothing more than a curiosity, he doesn't have to look into that mirror and see his own sorrow staring back at him.
But, logic is a pretty fragile shield against deep pain. As the night gets colder, the hermit's intellectual curiosity starts to curdle into this hot, stinging resentment. He finally turns on the silent bird, making it the target for all of his pain.
And wow, you can feel the shift. It's huge. The bird isn't a curiosity anymore. Now it's a thing of evil, a devil. The hermit needs a villain. He needs something, anything, to blame for this deep, crushing silence and emptiness he feels. He needs an enemy to fight.
And that's so often what anger is when we're grieving, isn't it? It's the search for a target. The hermit can't punch the abstract idea of loss, but he sure can yell at this bird. He's hoping that if he can just defeat the messenger, he can somehow destroy the terrible message it carries, the message of his own loneliness. This is a real turning point in the story. Our hermit has tried logic, he has tried rage, and neither has worked. The bird is still there, completely unmoved. So what's left when all the fight just drains out of you?
Well, after the fire of anger burns itself out, all that's left is ash. This is the stage of deep, hollow exhaustion. The fight is over. The hermit just collapses under the sheer weight of his sorrow, and he's no longer begging for answers. He's just begging for relief. This question, it's just so different from his angry demands earlier. It's not a challenge anymore, it's a desperate plea. Balm in Gilead is a biblical reference. It means a healing ointment. He's not trying to understand his pain or fight it any longer. He's just asking, is there any medicine that will make this stop? This is that heavy, crushing realization of powerlessness. It's the moment the soul finally accepts that what is gone forever. And the raven's single haunting word, nevermore, becomes the final weight that just pulls him down into the darkness. But there's one last desperate surge of resistance. The hermit makes one final attempt to physically force his world back to the way it was before the shadow fell over him. What a powerful line. He's literally yelling at the bird to get out of his heart and out of his home. He still believes, even in this last moment of struggle, that his grief is an external thing,
like a guest you can just throw out. He thinks if he can just get rid of the symbol, maybe, just maybe, the feeling will go with it.
And this is that final futile struggle against integration. It's that belief that grief is something that happens to you instead of something that becomes a part of you. But as this story teaches us, once grief has been invited in by the heart's own questions, you can't just evict it. And so we arrive at the end of the hermit's journey. And it doesn't end with the bird flying away. It doesn't end with a magical return to how things used to be. It ends with a quiet, profound, and permanent change. That repetition, still is sitting, it's so important. It screams permanence. The hermit finally gets it. The raven, his grief, it's not leaving. The fight is well and truly over, not because he won, but because he finally stopped fighting. This really brings us to the core lesson of the whole parable. Acceptance isn't about getting over your grief. It's about learning to live with it. The raven doesn't vanish. It becomes a permanent part of the room. And the hermit learns to live in the shadow it casts. His soul is now part of that shadow.
And that's the question this whole story leaves us with, isn't it? It's not a story about conquering sorrow, but about integrating it into who we are. It suggests that true strength isn't found in forcing the raven out the door, but in finding a way to live and maybe even find some kind of wisdom in its quiet, constant presence.